Thank you very much, Jane. Hello, good evening, and welcome to a very special programme celebrating 80 years of liberation. Now, over the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you the sights, the sounds, and the memories of those who lived that day, the 9th of May, 1945. But first, let's take you back 80 years and the news that after 5 long and hard years of Nazi occupation, the islands were finally free.
As they march through the streets of St. Peter Port, our troops receive the concentrated welcome of a people who've suffered 5 years of misery in the only part of the United Kingdom ever to be overrun by Germany. Our men give their own cigarettes to the islanders who've been without such a luxury since June 1940. The Nazi invader ran very true to form, but his weapons are now surrendered and stolen Jersey cattle restored to their rightful owners. The people of the islands forget their starvation in the joyful knowledge that their home is now back in the family circle from which it had been absent for so long. May continued and well-deserved prosperity and happiness follow the return of the Union Jack to the sunlit islands of the English Channel.
Hello there, I'm Charlie McCardle and you join me from a sunny St. Peter Port, and we really are at the heart of the celebrations this evening for a very special day for our islands. Right now entertaining the crowds are the D-Day darlings, and believe me, there are so many people down the front there dancing away. Well, as I said, every year we celebrate the joy and the freedom felt by those who were here in 1945. We've heard countless stories of tears and happiness from the people who lived through the occupation. And the day the Allied forces landed not too far away from here, actually, and similar scenes seen across the water in Jersey. Well, today here in Guernsey, islanders have been remembering the days that shaped our lives and our landscape. And later in the programme, we'll head out into the parishes for the community celebrations. But first, here's Ewan Duncan's roundup of the day so far.
Freedom's so important. You only have to look at Ukraine and what they're going through at the moment, so I think it's important that everybody remembers.
It's really nice just to see the whole community come together. When everyone comes out, it just brings a bit of energy back to the island.
I think it's really special. It's the 80th year, so we really wanted to turn out and sort of support, the local community here. And we have grandparents that were affected by the war, so it feels quite personal to us.
I think it's just one of the things that's kind of uniquely Guernsey, and I think it's important to remember this. And obviously, the 80th being a really big year, so important to be down and having a good time.
A party 8 decades in the making, and a royal occasion as Princess Anne delivers a message from her brother, King Charles.
To my most loyal people in the island of Guernsey, I send my warmest greetings on this, the 80th anniversary of your liberation from enemy occupation. My thoughts and prayers remain with you for your future happiness and the prosperity of your beloved island.
And as a 21-gun salute fired from Castle Cornet, the mood shifted from reflective to that of celebration, with a parade fit for a princess, Guernsey's largest cavalcade to date, with 40 floats and more than 200 vintage vehicles.
It's amazing, so privileged to be here and in this beautiful island.
I emigrated out to Australia when I was 22. It's very important to us to come back and help celebrate and remember all those people and what they went through. It's a tough time they had, but it's time to celebrate as well. So
it's really interesting to see all the things that happened and then coming and seeing this and how impressive it is and how important it is to everyone that they were liberated and they got to have that feeling of being free again from the occupation.
It was very hard for them, to leave their families behind. So it was lovely, really, to come and spend time with the islanders.
I think it's very important to remember because of all the people who gave up everything to serve the country.
With the 80 years celebration, obviously it's a really, really important kind of event for us to all just get out and celebrate as a community.
It's really important to remember our culture and why 80 years of this has been amazing, and we've been seeing things like Timothy the Tortoise and even stuff from Call the Midwife, so it's been really cool seeing all that.
I've seen the massive parade and later I'm going to the drone show. I think it's going to be an amazing experience for anyone who goes.
I'm going to Castle Cornet and doing lots of fun stuff, and I've been waving to all the cars that have been going here.
On the 9th of May 1945, thousands of islanders flocked to St Peter Port to celebrate hope, peace and freedom. Freedom that once again was celebrated today. Ewan Duncan, BBC Channel Islands News, Guernsey.
Oh, I tell you what, people really know how to dress for a party. It's Carl, isn't it? Very smart indeed. I must find out who your tailor is. Much appreciated. Now, in Jersey, the crowds have turned out for the traditional events and some new activities honouring the day when German forces surrendered, restoring freedom to the island. Now, the day started with a very special breakfast and a chance to reflect on the resilience of a community emerging from the hardships of Nazi rule. Gemma Daubeny reports on a day designed to celebrate a momentous milestone.
On the same streets where relatives cheered with relief and joy, islanders gathered to remember.
Liberation means freedom.
Freedom.
Yes, freedom.
Pride.
Patriotic.
Respect.
Beautiful.
Everything.
Celebration.
Celebration.
Flags.
Just happiness.
Bringing the island together.
Astonishing.
Epic.
Enthusiastic.
It's liberating to be here.
Happy liberation.
The day started with breakfast for people who lived through the occupation.
Suddenly, everybody's happy. So that's what I remember.
Excitement. We were going to be free and we were going to have food.
We had our lives back, we had our food back, we had our clothing back.
Formal proceedings in Liberation Square heard how lessons of history are still relevant today.
We must continue to help those seeking refuge from invasion and persecution. The occupation showed us what happens when humanity fails. Our best tribute to the past is to live up to the lessons it taught us.
So as we look ahead, the passing of time gives us not only perspective, but it gives us responsibility. We are the custodians now. It is up to us to ensure that liberation is never reduced to a date in the diary.
And that first real sign that Jersey was liberated.
The iconic reenactment was followed by a march, a motorcade and a flypast. And then it was party time. But the day wasn't just about celebrating. A service in the Royal Square remembered life-saving food parcels provided by the SS Vega.
This ship, though modest in size, holds enormous significance for us, especially for the many islanders here today whose families lived through the hardship and uncertainty of those occupation years.
People who suffered and died under forced labour were honoured too.
Being up here today at the Slave Workers Memorial here is just an opportunity, I think, for all of us to come up here and lay a wreath and just remember the people who perhaps didn't come out of the war as lucky as others. So very poignant, very moving, very emotional, and so important to do.
It's the first time Liberation has officially been Jersey's National Day, and the occasion was marked with a visit from Winston Churchill's grandson.
That's why my grandfather minded so much about it. That's why he referred to them, my dear Channels, because they are so, you can feel it, they're so patriotic, they're loyal. You only have to read what he said about it on the 8th of May, our dear Channel Islands, and he meant it.
Beautiful Jersey, gem of the sea.
Feet marching, flags waving and voices singing. A special day for a special island lives on. Gemma Daubeny, BBC Channel Islands News, Jersey.
Yeah, it certainly is a special day. Now, over the years doing this job, I've been fortunate enough to hear the memories of lots of people who lived through World War II and the occupation that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. Like for so many of you, my own grandparents told me stories that won't be forgotten. Well, yesterday I had one of the hottest tickets in town to go and meet some of those veterans and islanders who played a part in the very first liberation. How could I resist tea cake and a bit of a dance to remember the day Winston Churchill told the world the island's dark days were over?
In the interest of saving lives, the ceasefire began yesterday to be sounded all along the front, and our dear Channel Islands are also to be freed today.
Partying like it's 1945 and sharing memories of that first Liberation Day.
Well, it was just so exciting. Everybody was just going around and hugging each other, and really exciting.
Went to some parties on the boat that came in. Quite mad, really.
All I can remember is being given a bar of chocolate.
This is the 80th anniversary. What's it like to be part of that celebration?
It's just lovely to see everybody so happy.
For someone like me, I'm in my 30s, you know, I remember stories about occupation, the war and everything that happened, but when you sit down with someone who can tell you about May the 9th, that day, how it felt, what happened, and just that sheer freedom, it's a real heartwarming, emotional, but I feel very lucky to be able to speak to these people.
This year is really poignant to be able to speak to survivors of the evacuation, those who come back and have lived memory, and some of the people that liberated these islands is a special sacred privilege. I really love it. It matters a great deal.
It brings back so many memories, you know, all the tunes and everything during the war. It's lovely.
Yeah, and Islanders, as you can see, are still dancing and cheering and singing along to the D-Day Darlings here in St. Peter Port. Well, today we are sharing a fraction of the stories we've heard from Islanders and those with a unique connection to liberation. Just to remind you, you can explore plenty more of the BBC special Liberation 80 coverage and content right now. It's available on the BBC News app. You can also grab it online and hear plenty more of those incredible stories on BBC Sounds. Well, the glitz and the glam of the tea dance and the hanger ball got the party started last night, and as you saw, it continues into the evening here in St. Peter Port with music, food and plenty more still to come. Well, Jersey's town centre too has been the focus of many of the official liberation celebrations, as we saw a little earlier. And Gemma Daubeny is following the events in St. Helier, and she's joining the party. How's it all going down there, Gemma?
It sure is, Charlie. There's kids with ice creams, there's parents with pints of beer, and local band Brick House now on the stage. I'm actually finding it quite hard not to groove along myself. And while these guys might be wrapping up within the next hour, I do have a feeling the music and the dancing will continue. There's concerts at Jersey's newly reopened Opera House. There's a free festival Saturday and Sunday in the Parade Gardens, and family fun in many of the island's parishes. Lots of those parishes have been marking the special day today, as our communities reporter Chris Craddock has been finding out.
Plenty of food for thought in St Saviour at this nursery liberation tea party.
It's important because it's part of their heritage. So living in Jersey, it's a big celebration, it's 80 years, and it's important that we keep this tradition going on. So starting at a young age is just fantastic.
I'm feeling good.
How much painting have you done?
So much painting. I like
Today we remember those who served, those who sacrificed,
The day itself starting with a moment of reflection in St John.
It's been lovely. St John's have taken so much trouble to do all this for us, and it really has been wonderful. Now, we children had never seen chocolate, but fortunately in the Red Cross parcel there was chocolate, and it was, I can almost remember the taste.
They turned up the volume in Portlet.
I mean, obviously you can tell from the accent I'm not from Jersey, and I think the fact they still put so much effort into it is brilliant.
I feel that if it wasn't for all these people that did all this for us, Sea Swim this morning, sitting here now, it may have been a completely different story.
And people came together for special tea parties in St Brelard and St Juan.
Look what's happened. It's wonderful. It took a bit of effort, but it was pleasurable effort and well worth it.
It's a must for everybody, not for the Italian, for everybody. Jersey shouldn't happen again.
From Western parishes to family fun days out east, liberation celebrations continue through the weekend as islanders of all ages mark 80 years of freedom.
We hope lots of people come down to appreciate all the hard work that's gone into a really fun time that we promise everybody.
I'm looking forward to the bouncy castles. I'm looking forward to everything except bouncy castles.
Why not bouncy castles?
Because I don't like them because I'm afraid if they pop.
Now, I'm not sure if you can hear me over all this noise, but it's clear that people in Jersey, both young and old, will continue to celebrate their liberation over their second long weekend in May. Charlie.
Gemma, knowing the way I know you, you've certainly found the party today. Well, today's celebrations are hugely poignant, not just for those who stood on these very streets 80 years ago, but for those who were forced to leave their island homes during the war. Well, Anne Mathers was 5 years old when she was evacuated. The end of the war meant she could finally return home. And you know what? I'm delighted to say that Anne has returned back to Guernsey for the 80th anniversary, and she joins me here. Anne, it's such a delight to have you on the programme today. I really appreciate it. What does it feel like being back here 80 years?
It's wonderful. It's really nostalgic. I do miss the island. I lived here after the war until I was 21, and then I left to go and work in London like most people do. And I really missed the island so much that every time I came home to see my parents, I would cry all the way back on the plane.
Can I just take you back briefly to those 80 years, the first time that you had to leave your family, your friends, a life that you'd known for such a long time?
Well, yes, I don't remember too much about it, but when my mother took me down to the harbour to catch the boat, she was told that there was a teacher who'd been taken ill and they were short of adults to accompany the children. So she said, well, I haven't got any other children and my husband has already enlisted, so I could go if you send a message back to the rest of the family to tell them what's happened. So I was very, very lucky in that respect that my mother was with me on the journey and stayed with me all through the war.
And then, of course, you were away for those 5 years. You then finally came back in November of 1945. What was it like sort of seeing your home again after all those years?
We didn't have a home to come back to. My parents had been in rented accommodation and had obviously given it up, and we'd moved in with family for a time being. So when we got back, we stayed with the family again. They had the Farmers Hotel down on the seafront and the not the Carlton Hotel, it was called the Bowlier Hotel in those days, in St Martin's, so we went and lived there.
Incredible. Listen, I think Paul can get a shot of this medal. Tell us about this medal here, which looks almost new.
Well, we were given that when we, after we came back at school, we were each given the Liberation Medal, and we're very proud to have it. And I'm delighted to find that this year they're giving them out to the school children, replica ones, to the school children now. I think that's a wonderful thing to do.
Well, it looks like new, and I know this is probably one of the first times that it's come out of this box, and you wear it with pride. What will you take away from today's celebrations?
Oh, just so many memories. It's just been really fantastic. can't tell you how happy it's made me.
Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your memories with us. It's been an absolute delight to be in your company. And I know last night you had a bit of a star.
I did, yes.
Quickly tell me about it.
Well, it wasn't last night, it was yesterday afternoon. We were at the tea dance and Rob Rinder and Rylan were there, and I got to talk to them. And I got to dance with Rylan, which was fantastic.
And he couldn't believe that you were 90.
No.
You look remarkable for it. Anne, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you. Well, the good times are still rolling here at North Beach, but let's head out to St. Peter Port for a moment and to the west coast of Liray, where they've been partying like it's 1945, and organisers promise something special.
Sandcastles, dancing, and its very own cavalcade. A jam-packed Liberation Day out in the west of Guernsey.
It's one of these labour of loves. You know what the end result looks like, and this is it today. We've been absolutely blessed with weather, with people turning out, and just, you know, the value is seeing how much people enjoy it, being able to retell their stories, and just connect with each other.
Among the crowds, those who were here during the war.
Most people will know of the Prince of Wales pub at the top of Smith Street. Now, Henri Travers, he was the publican, and he was very friendly with my parents. And I can remember going in the pub, up the stairs, through a hatch, and standing on the top of the Prince of Wales and looking out to sea and seeing all the ships that came to save us.
For people like Peter, this day is still incredibly special, the memories as fresh as ever. Princess Anne came too, to chat about life during Guernsey's occupation.
It's wonderful to be free. Nobody knows what life was like 5 years under German occupation. It was absolutely awful. So only people that experienced this knows how awful it was when they were on our island.
A chance to make new, happier memories.
It has been fantastic. The amount of effort everybody has put in, it's just wonderful. The weather's fantastic, so really, really enjoying the day.
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, it's been a really good day. It's been really good atmosphere, families and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, it's brilliant fun. Lots to do, lots of people around. You meet friends, people you haven't seen for a while. I really enjoy it.
With 80 years of liberation marked in style, it's time for the evening fun to begin. Islanders will be boogieing in this tent behind me well late into the evening with live music from local bands. Charlie Lanuri, BBC Channel Islands News, Guernsey.
Well, Guernsey and Jersey may be partying like it's 1945, but today, Sark had to wait just one more day for freedom. Princess Anne will be heading there tomorrow for its 80th anniversary, and organisers say they've got a full programme, including briefing the princess on 2 commando raids, the unveiling of a special tribute, and a street party as well. Just a reminder, you can listen to that coverage of Sark's Liberation 80 on BBC Sounds. Well, in a moment, we've got something special to show you with a special poem about the occupation and liberation from someone who lived it. And we'll share more highlights of today's Liberation 80. But first, let's talk about the weather and who gets the honour of being our Liberation Weather Watcher Star of the Day. Well, it's none other than Chris Cumulus. Yeah, St Andrew in Guernsey. That is fantastic. Well, let's see what the weather is like over the next couple of days. Here's David Brain with your forecast.
Thanks very much. Hello again. The weekend forecast is a bit mixed. I think we'll have a predominantly dry day for tomorrow. Sunday, though, we're going to see some showers, and perhaps 1 or 2 of those showers will turn up later in the day on Saturday. But for Liberation Day on Sark, it looks like for much of the day tomorrow, it'll be fine and dry, albeit a little breezy at times. The cloud that's in the south of us, that's what's coming north over the next 24 hours. Not much happening this evening and overnight tonight, but this area of low pressure is getting closer, and by the time we get to the end of the day tomorrow, it's starting to bring a lot of cloud, potentially a few showers, but definite showers, quite frequent showers on Sunday, and still very unsettled on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Overnight tonight then, there's a quiet weather, I think. There will be some patchy cloud around, and a minimum temperature of 10, 11 degrees, so a bit milder than it's been recently. A freshening breeze from the east means that even though we'll see some pretty good temperatures, it'll feel cool if you're on those east-facing coasts, with a maximum temperature tomorrow of around 18 or 19 for most of us. Perhaps shelter parts of Jersey might get a bit higher than that. These are our times of high water. St Helier 5:55 and 18:18. The winds are easterly, force 4 to 5 tomorrow, with generally fair conditions and good visibility. Sunday then, the change, showers and possibly showers around on Monday too. Next week though, after Tuesday, the high pressure comes back and so does the sunshine. Have a nice weekend.
Well, events continue tonight with fireworks, and there'll be a drone light show which you'll be able to see on our late news at 10:30. But now, as promised, and a fitting end to our anniversary special, some rarely seen colour footage of the first British troops coming ashore at Jersey Harbour, and the moving words and memories of Elaine Lurcher Thomas. It's goodbye from me and the team, and a happy Liberation Day.
Can you imagine, if you were not here, what the impact was of that day in May all those decades ago, when British soldiers marched up the quay with helmets and rucksacks and khaki gear? How we cheered those Tommies and reached out to touch them. One lifted me over a barrier and hugged me, and many more signed little cards that I treasured for years, remembering those men, our excitement and tears. Living memory will die with my generation, for whom even today, a whole lifetime away, the emotion is strong when that day comes along. Remembrance of joy and exhilaration. Deep gratitude for freedom.
Celebrating those who have fought for us. Important because we don't really want to repeat what we've already had to see.
The old order is shifting, and we may wonder what the future holds. We cannot know, but we can do the best with the time that is given to us.